Hello, I'm Richie Hunley, and I'm here with Rudy Thomas, the director of the Lindsey Wilson College Upward Bound program. We're featuring Rudy as part of the First Generation Friday feature on our website. Rudy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been in education more years than I'll tell you. I went to college at Berea College, and if I hadn't gone to Berea, I wouldn't have been able to afford anywhere else. So I came from a family of nine. I had seven sisters and one brother. That made nine of us, and I'm the only one in the family to have gone to college. But I was a high school teacher for 17 and a half years, and then I came out of the classroom, worked as an administrator for 7 years, and then went to Berea as their superintendent of schools. And I retired from there. And then while I was going to Berea, I met Bill Best, who was over the Upward Bound program, but he was over Project Torchlight, which was the first program dealing with low income first generation to go to college students. And that was under Johnson's War on Poverty bill. And then the next year it was Upward Bound. So I worked for Berea for 14 years when I was a teacher. I only stopped working with them when I became an administrator and didn't have summers off, but I worked with them year round as a instructor and a recruiter, and stayed in the dorm as a resident director. And then this is my ninth year here. So I've had 28 years in public education in the high schools, and this is starting my ninth year with Upward Bound here at Lindsey, and I tell people I'm 102 years old. So, but anyway, I've retired 3 times, and I'm not ready to retire yet.
So think back to your first year in college and tell us a little bit about what that was like.
First year in college was eye-opening. I graduated 4 out of 104 students in my high school class, but I went to Berea during the summer because I wanted to get ahead. I wanted to take a couple of courses, a math course and an English course, and I did, and they put me working in the caf there. I would work every morning. 4:30 I'd go in to work to do breakfast. And my first year there, my first summer, my duty every morning was to break 4 gallons of eggs in a gallon jars, and then to serve on the line when the food was cooked. So when you're beginning college, you don't get the breaks. But I was fortunate enough that first day I went to college to realize that it was something I had never expected, because it was the first day at college. I'd been in my dorm room and the cafeteria wasn't open, so I went out into the city of Berea, which is like walking around the square at that time over here at Columbia. And I went into a little pizza place, and there was a lady there who was Italian, and she served me a small pizza, and then I gave her $2 for that pizza and a drink, and she owed me 35 cents back, and she said, "I don't have any change, young man. You'll have to wait here till I go back in the back." And she went back in the back, and she came out with a quarter and a dime. And I was a coin collector. The quarter was an 1853 quarter, and the dime was 1914. So my first experience was that I got rewarded, and yet the reward would come 4 years later when I graduated. But I still have those 2 coins in my coin collection, and I'm really proud of those. But my first class, I didn't know what I wanted to major in, so I took a German class, and I told myself I'm good at German and I want to major in German. So I majored in German and majored in, of all things, Russian foreign policy, in social science, and I had a minor in history, and I had a minor in literature. I didn't take any teaching or ed courses, but I took a lot of courses that I wanted to take, and I graduated in 19, whatever it was, way back there. But Berea was a great experiment for me and an experience for me, and particularly when I did meet Bill Best. I was in the dorm where he was head resident, and he would pitch horseshoes outside with the students every day, and he and his wife lived there. And then I met Dr. Pauk, who was a German teacher, and that helped me decide I wanted to be a German major. So took every course they had, and then some independent study. But again, in high school, it was easy for me to make grades. At Berea, it was not as easy, and I spent many, many hours studying. One thing that helped me was the fact my father wouldn't sign for my license until I was 18, but I was a junior when I turned 18, just barely a junior. So that helped me. I had to stay on campus at Berea, and I just went through their program, but I did get out of the cafeteria. They started letting me, when I was a sophomore, teach German to the other students. 2 days a week I would have lab with them, and then when I was a junior, the professor put me in teaching German 3 days a week, and he did the lab, and then when I was a senior, I taught all 5 days for him. So, I got the education I needed there, as though we call it an internship or a training program. So I managed to get through Berea, and I think it served me well. But I had no thought of going to college. My father was an auto mechanic and a body man. And he said, "Son, I'm going to teach you a trade. I'm going to teach you how to take motors out of cars, tear them down, build them, put them back together, how to put brakes on a car. I'm going to teach you to be a mechanic and how to be a body man. And if you fail out of college, you can get a job." So I went to college thinking, I don't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to join the Air Force. He was a World War II vet, and he said, no, armed forces for you. He fought in the Battle of Bulge, and he was wounded there. So I went on to Berea. I had approached him telling him I wanted to join the Job Corps, but when he said, "No, you're going to college," that was my admissions counselor, so to speak. My father went to the 8th grade twice. He couldn't afford to go to high school, and then he got drafted in World War II. So that was my incentive to actually buckle down and go to Berea.
So what was the biggest challenge that you faced while you were in college?
Well, like many first-generation low-income students, I couldn't have gone to many colleges because I had no money to take with me. I actually took $66 with me to college to buy all my books and pay everything that I never had any money, but I saved $66 to go to college on. And I went through Berea for 4 years and ended up owing $269. So there are ways to get help. The good thing about Berea was your tuition was free. And then they gave me jobs, like I was telling you, I worked in the kitchen. They wanted me to work in the dairy barn because from the time I was 12 until I went to college, I milked cattle, 4 every morning, 4 every afternoon. But I guess what caused them not to do that was the fact that a friend of mine took a cow and let her up on the 3rd floor in one of the dorms, and he got caught and I didn't. But it was no trouble getting her up there, but they didn't have elevators. getting her down was a major chore for them. So I was afraid to show up at the dairy barn. But, going there, the big challenge was not having money. And then when I started working, I worked for 69 cents an hour. The college didn't have to pay, minimum wage then, so I started working 69 cents an hour, but a tank of gasoline costs $5 for your car. So, it helped me being able to find something to do on campus and work 10, later 15, and later when I was a senior, 20 hours a week. So I was making a grand total of $13 and something, nearly 14 when I was a senior a week.
So, what factors do you think ultimately led you to succeed in graduating from college?
Well, I was always a good student. In high school, they voted me the most studious. And if I had problems in any classes, I just told myself, you can do it, you study harder. And the fact that I was thinking when I was a sophomore that I might not want to complete, because I hadn't got into the courses out of all the general ed. I just finished those. I hadn't gone into my junior year and taken all those courses I really liked. So I went to Indiana, and my cousin worked at a factory there. So she got me a job on third shift making electric boxes. And third shift for that summer told me I didn't want to be working in a factory. That I just had nothing against working with my hands and, my back and all of that. But working in a factory was not the same as working on a farm. So that experiment and experience told me I wanted to go to school and finish and do something with this instead of with my hands and my back.
So our last question today is, what would be the one best piece of advice that you would offer to other first-generation college students?
I would tell them, because I have a son, this is his first year, and he is learning that college is not the same as high school. And every freshman from any high school learns that. But the sooner they learn it, the better. And one of the things that I would tell them to do is concentrate on their studies when they're in high school. If you could make A's by being tardy 32 days in a year and still make A's, you can't afford to do that in college, and you have to look at it as a contract between you and the school or you and the teacher. They expect you to be there, and you need to be there, and you need to do your work. And the work, first generation to go to college students work on many different levels, but they don't have the support at home. They don't have an admission counselor like my father said, you're going to college and that's it. Many of them can just go out to McDonald's and start flipping hamburgers and selling orders out the window, or go to some other an IGA or something and work part-time, and they start getting money that they've never had. They need to work that and use the money, but realize, like I did, that you don't want to live on a wage you earn using your hand and your back. I learned that in making electric boxes. But, it's good to work, and you should do a great job at anything you work at, but you should realize that the education is the one thing that no one can take away from you.
Well, we'd like to thank you for your time, and we appreciate you sitting down with us today. And we invite everyone to join us each Friday for our First Generation Friday feature. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.